Hello everyone and welcome to the Git tutorial series part 3. In the previous video, we saw how to add and remove files from our repository and how to add checkpoint using git commit. In this video, we will learn how to see what changes have been done in our files using git diff command. But before diving into this diff command, let me explain the areas where we work with our files. So first, we have our working area, which is our working directory. So we work with the files in this area, and then the files or the changes that we want to add into our repository, we have to first stage them. So we add this file to the staging area using git add command, and then we save this file to the repository using git commit. Now, whenever we do a commit, git adds one pointer to the latest commit we do in our branch. By default, we work in master branch. So the pointer is called head. So next time when we do some changes or we add a new file and perform the commit, then the head will point to this latest commit. So in this flow, if you want to see what changes have been done between these files or between these areas, then we can use git diff command. A point to remember here is a file is tracked only when it is present in the staging or repository area. So git diff command will show the difference if it is tracked. So working area files are not tracked. So if you want to see the difference between the files in the working directory and the staging area, then we will use the git diff command. And if you want to see the difference between the staging area and the head, which is our latest commit, then we will use git diff hyphen cast or git diff hyphen stage. And if you want to see the difference between working directory and the latest commit, which is head, then we will use git diff head. We can also see the difference between two different commits using the git diff, and we can supply the hash code or the ID for different commits. So let's see some examples, some practical examples to demonstrate this. Okay, so here we have our empty folder here. Let me make it as my repository. I can just use the git init command, git init, to make it my repository. Now you can see I'm currently in the master branch now. So now let me add some folder in my working directory. So I'm just creating one file here, uh, file 1.txt. So now currently I have this file in my working directory, which is not present in my staging area nor in my repository. So this file is currently not being tracked. So if I use git diff command here, so it should show the difference between the working directory and the staging area. So currently in the staging area we have nothing, and in our working directory we have one file.txt, but it will show nothing because this file is currently not being tracked. So let me just add some changes in the file. Like, let me add the first line here, let me save it, and let me add this file to the staging area so that it will be tracked by the git. So git add dot, so this file is currently in the staging area. So if I use git diff command now, it is still showing nothing because this file in the staging area and the working directory both having the same content, like there is no changes here. So let me add some changes. So if I use the second line, so I have typed the second line here, and if I use git diff this time, then you can see the git is showing the difference. So let's try to understand what this difference about. So this is just showing that we have these two different versions of the same file. We have file 1, a different version of the file, and file 1.txt, a different version of this file. And this 2 represents the identifier, or we can say ID, or we can say the hash code of these files to uniquely identify them. And this represents the information about the file. So these three characters, three digits here, represents the type of the file. So it is saying that we have a regular file here, and these three digits here shows the permission of the file. So 6 represents the Linux permission, like in Linux for 6 we have read and write permission. For 4 we have read permission, and 4 again we have read permission. So this represents for owner. So owner has read and write permission, and this 4 represents the other the groups. So group have the read permission, and this represents the other. So others have only read permissions. So this is the information about the file, and here it is showing that there is a difference. Minus and plus means there is a difference. So in the first file, it is our staging area. In the staging area we have one file which is where the content starts from line number 1 and we have total line number of total lines 1. So in the first file, in the staging area, we have total 1 line of the code, and in the second file, which is in our working directory, we have 2 lines of the code. And you can see the difference here. In the staging area, we have first line of the code, and in the working area, we have 2 lines of the code. So now let me add these changes in our staging area. Git add dot. Now this both files are identical. Now if I use git diff, it will show nothing. Now this time if I use again, if I add third line, if I save it, and if I use git diff again, then this time it is showing that in the staging area, from starting from line number 1, we have total 2 lines, and in our working area we have total 3 lines. So these are the changes. So this white line means whatever is written in the white color means that it is present in the both line in both files, and this red represents that the changes are done in that line, or and this 2 represents that 2 new lines are added. So the second line, the changes was made, and the new changes was this. So that's all the information in the git diff command. So now let me just commit this code so I can make this code available in our repository. So I can use git add dot. Let me add all the changes. All the changes are in the staging area, and let me add this staging area, this file from the staging area to the repository. So I can use git commit, and I can supply one message here, like first commit. So now this file which has 3 lines of the code, which is present in our working directory, our staging area, and also it is present in our repository. Now if I add some line of code like fourth line, and if I use git diff hyphen 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 not hyphen hyphen head, so I can see the difference between the working directory and our head, which is our latest commit. So in our latest commit we have 3 lines of the code, and in our working directory we have 4 lines of the code. So these 2 lines are the same in both the files. This line was changed and these 2 lines are added. And let me add these changes to the staging area. Git add and dot. So now these 4 lines are present in the staging area. Now if I want to see the difference between the staging area and the latest commit, then I can use git diff hyphen hyphen staged, or I can also write hyphen hyphen cached, whatever will be preferred by you. So you can see the staging area in the latest commit we have 3 lines of the code, and in the staging area we have 4 lines of the code. Now let me commit this code also. So git commit hyphen m second commit. Now this time I have 2 different commits. So if I want to see the difference between two commits, I can use, first I have to find the IDs of these 2 commits. So I can use git log. If I use git log, then I can see all the commits which was done in our repository. So this was the first commit. The ID of this first commit is here, and this is my second commit, and the ID of the second commit is here, and this is showing some information like who has made the commit and at what time they have made those commits. So if I want to see the difference in those commits, I can just write git diff and this IDs. But this IDs currently is too long, so let me just short it out. Let me just format it in shorter format. So git log hyphen hyphen 1 line. It will show difference in short line, not difference. It will show log in short lines. So here is the shorter version of the all the commits. So if I use git diff, and I can write the commit logs, we can see the commit IDs. So let me copy it and paste it here, and the second commit, let me copy and paste it here, and if I press enter, then we can see the difference between 2 commits. In the first commit we have 3 lines of the code, in the latest commit we have 4 lines of the code, and these 2 lines are the same. The third line was changed and these 2 lines were added. So that's all the information in the git diff command. And we can also use git diff command to see the difference in the files which are present in different, we can say, different branches. But currently I have not covered the branches yet, so I will explain it in the further videos. So thank you for watching the videos, and if you want to see more about these Git tutorials, then please do visit our channel again. Thank you.